Ukraine appears determined to keep up pressure on Russia through long-range drone operations, even as questions grow over whether Western-backed air defense interceptor stockpiles can sustain multiple conflicts and security crises at the same time. Critics argue that President Volodymyr Zelensky is continuing to challenge Moscow with increasingly ambitious drone attacks despite concerns about Ukraine's own military resources and the long-term sustainability of its defense stockpiles. The debate comes as reports and defense analysts warn about growing pressure on interceptor inventories in the United States and among its allies, raising questions about how future military aid could be prioritized if multiple conflicts intensify simultaneously. At least 3 people were reportedly injured in Russia's Krasnodar region after an overnight Ukrainian drone attack, with Russian authorities claiming that falling debris and resulting fires caused damage to residential areas. The latest strikes are likely to fuel expectations of further Russian retaliation, with some analysts suggesting that Moscow could seek to exploit Ukraine's resource constraints as both sides continue to escalate the long-running drone war. Russia claimed that Ukrainian drones struck residential areas during overnight attacks on June 10, with Russian media reports alleging that civilian neighborhoods were affected as the drone campaign continued to expand beyond frontline regions. According to claims carried by Russia Today, a Ukrainian drone attack injured 3 civilians in Russia's Krasnodar region, adding to concerns about the growing impact of long-range strikes on populated areas inside Russian territory. The governor of Krasnodar region said debris from intercepted unmanned aerial vehicles sparked a fire at an apartment building, causing damage after Russian air defenses engaged incoming drones. According to regional authorities, 2 people were injured when falling drone debris struck a residential building in the city of Krasnodar, leading to fires and damage inside the apartment block. Officials also reported that 1 person was injured in the Seversky district during the same wave of drone attacks, as emergency services responded to incidents across the region. Reports said the falling debris damaged the facade of an apartment building, shattered windows, and left visible signs of destruction, highlighting the risks posed even when drones are intercepted before reaching their intended targets. Russia said its air defense systems shot down a total of 330 Ukrainian drones during a large-scale overnight aerial raid, describing the attack as one of the most extensive drone operations launched against Russian territory in recent months. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, the wave of drone attacks targeted multiple regions simultaneously, forcing air defense units across the country to respond to threats over a wide geographic area. Reports said regions including Moscow, Belgorod and Bryansk were among those targeted during the operation, as Ukrainian drones reportedly attempted to penetrate deeper into Russian territory. Moscow stated that it responded to Ukrainian attacks with strikes on what it described as dual-use infrastructure inside Ukraine, targeting facilities that Russian officials claim support military operations. Meanwhile, the Kremlin maintained that Russian forces do not deliberately target purely civilian locations, arguing that its military operations are focused on infrastructure and facilities linked to Ukraine's war effort. Patriot missile shortages have deepened as U.S. allies face growing uncertainty over future deliveries and replenishment schedules. Lockheed Martin Vice President Brian Dunn said allied nations could not be given firm timelines on when new missile deliveries would arrive. Dunn said final allocation decisions would be made by Washington rather than industry, according to the Financial Times. The warning came as demand for Patriot interceptors surged following the Iran conflict and other global security crises. Countries including Germany, Poland, Japan, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia continue to rely heavily on Patriot air defense systems. Dunn said Lockheed Martin was rapidly expanding production capacity for PAC-3 interceptor missiles to meet rising demand. The company has agreed to increase annual output from about 650 missiles to roughly 2,000 by 2033. The production expansion forms part of a broader $4.7 billion agreement reached between Lockheed Martin and the Pentagon. Dunn said higher production would help ease shortages over time, but would not guarantee quicker deliveries to customers. He stressed that Lockheed Martin has no authority over which countries receive missiles first under U.S. allocation decisions. On June 10, the Financial Times reported that U.S. allies had already been warned to expect delays in Patriot missile deliveries. Ukraine has continued to depend heavily on Patriot batteries to defend against Russian missile and drone attacks. Analysts said interceptor shortages have made the task of protecting Ukrainian cities increasingly difficult. The Iran conflict has also added fresh pressure as US stockpiles face significant operational demands. According to the Financial Times, Washington has moved to replenish inventories that were depleted during recent conflicts. The supply crunch has also encouraged several European countries to explore alternatives to US-made air defense systems. Lockheed executive Paula Hartley said many allied governments were becoming increasingly frustrated by delivery delays. Hartley said several countries were now questioning both US availability and broader policy decisions regarding allocations.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.